Are you overprocessed, losing your hair, and looking for a new therapist? Well, the Stylist chair is where client confessions and declarations are made. The place where confusion is detangled, new shades of confidence is created, smudges are cleansed away, and edges are relaxed. Most importantly, it's the place where we gently cut away our unhealthy past and start the process of restoration, all in an effort to prevent further damage. My name is LYNN Thatcher, and I am your creative stylist, restorative hair care specialist, and confidence coach. While creating a culture that cultivates the mind, body, and soul, I advocate for being intentional in your pursuit of confidence and personal development. I specialize in unwrapping the layers of low self-esteem and depositing high volumes of confidence. Welcome to your scheduled appointment at From the Stylist Chair podcast, the place where we are building confidence one head at a time. The salon is now open and all walk-ins are welcome. So come on in and don't forget to grab a towel just in case you get some water in your eyes. Have a seat in my chair and let's talk hair. Hello and welcome to your weekly appointment at From the Stylist Chair podcast, the place where we're building confidence one head at a time. I am your host, LYNN Thatcher, and joining me today is Kalena Marie.
Hey.
Hey.
How you?
Hey, I'm good.
Yes.
I'm good. So, a little about Kalena and I's friendship. Kalena and I have known each other for, we've concluded, at least 21 years. Possibly a little bit longer than that, but definitely at least 21 years. She and I met in church, and Kalena started, our relationship actually started by Kalena braiding my hair.
That's right.
With the hot red kinky twist.
Yes, human.
Human hair. Human hair.
Yes, stain the pillow.
And that was before kinky twist even became popular, really.
Absolutely.
They were just now kind of showing up on the scene. But even the human hair part, people still...
No, people always wondered what it was.
Yeah.
Was it yours?
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
Love that question, by the way.
Yes, that was definitely one of my absolute favorite styles when it came to braiding and just natural styles. Kinky twist was my absolute favorite, and more so because it could be done with human hair, and that's definitely what I enjoy. So it is a pleasure to have you as my guest and to serve you from the chair today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So before we get into this consultation, share with our listening audience who you are and what you do.
So, my name is Kalena Marie. I am a professional cosmetologist by trade. I am also a mother and a full-time caregiver to a mother who has Parkinson's. So, shout out to anybody who is a full-time caregiver. Didn't know what you go through until now. And yes, it is an anointing for that position. So, endure. But I do hair. I make products. My focus is primarily the health of hair and your scalp, so I'm asking questions about what you eat, how you live, how you sleep. I want to know all about you and how we can get you and your hair to its best state. Just forever innovating and thinking and creating, and so new things on the horizon from me.
Yeah,
that's all about what I got right now.
So mind, body, soul, getting to the root of the issues people are having with their hair and how you can actually help them conquer those issues.
Absolutely, solution driven.
Yes. So how long have you been in the industry?
Since 2005. Yes.
2005.
Yes.
Long time.
Back in the day when I was young, still young. Yes.
Does it seem like it's been that long?
Yes and no when it gets monotonous. Yes, when it feels like I've been doing this long enough, this particular thing. No, when it's a spark of creativity and innovation and it's like you're all brand new and excited all over again. And it almost feels like you don't have enough time to get it out. So it's a yes and no.
Yeah. Okay. So what made you choose this field?
I feel like it ended up choosing me in a sense because I've always been a creative person. I'm an artistic person. I actually saw myself as being a psychologist and or an architect because I love math and art growing up. I never saw myself in corporate. Just sitting still for that long and being under somebody else's rule for that long was not my ideal of what I wanted to do. But I was always doing my hair because my mother could not do my hair. So it kind of she allowed me the freedom to practice on myself out of necessity and just a release of my creativity. So at 8, I started my first French braid, by 11, I was designing my own hair braiding patterns and I would go in the mirror and get it done. Partings wasn't perfect, but it was my whole creation. It was such a sense of pride, like I did that. And so had a younger cousin, I did her hair. I became the braider. So I saw myself in this industry towards my senior year because I'm like, well, what if I could do both? What if I wanted to go to fashion as far as going to college. But I'm like, what if I could do both? Because the schools I grew up in, this industry was considered trade and it was considered not an option. It was more college prep, more traditional learning. And entrepreneurship in this vein was not necessarily promoted. And so when I got a grasp on the life that you could have and just doing what you love, that's more what I focused on, is just what feels good to do all day. And so I made the decision before I left for high school that I was gonna go get my fashion degree and I was gonna get a cosmetology license. It turns out getting the cosmetology license came first. And I still design things, but I don't have a degree in fashion or in that field at all. And I don't regret it. But how this industry has allowed me to express myself, there's so many facets. There's so many types of us. It fits so many personalities, and what you have to offer in this industry is very key. So I encourage anybody to stay specific to what you're called to so you can maximize that lane and that niche. And mine is a healing aspect. That's who I am when I'm with my friends, when I'm with my peers. It's that pouring out, trying to dig deep, I go deep often. Metaphors, all that, that's me. So it's not a surprise that my business mimics that in its purpose. Let's get to the root.
Let's get to the root. That's good. That is good.
That might be a t-shirt. Let's get to the root.
That's good. So name one thing that you've seen over the years that you think people struggle with when it comes to their hair.
Simply physically what to do with it. Whether it be thin hair, thick hair, it's the system on how to manage it. What works for them on a regular basis has been the main thing, because they come to us or they come to me specifically looking for, stuff that's easy to do, but looks kept for a duration of time, which can be a challenge to accomplish holding a style that also moves and is free with very low maintenance. It's what to do and how to keep it healthy. It seems to be the issue.
Okay. What to do and how to keep it healthy. Okay. We can spend something there.
Yeah.
For sure. So today's topic is nappy roots.
Okay.
Nappy roots. So as stylists, we tend to wear a lot of hats. We are confidants, we're therapists, we're intercessors.
Absolutely.
We are coaches, we're doctors, mediators, cultivators, you know, all the things, right? So much more than just a stylist. That word stylist can have so many different meanings, right? And so sometimes while being all things to all people,
Right.
your 25, 35, 40 plus people you see in a week, sometimes those people forget or don't realize that even we have to navigate through our own challenges.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So did you want to say something to that before I?
No, just the balance of being behind the chair and serving, and knowing that you're in a position, a role, but also those relationships get really personal on both sides. So just as you're giving, you're also receiving in turn. So things are growing on both ends, but the professional side, making sure that you don't get too personal with yourself in this setting, that part. And it can be a challenge because some people like that. Some people look, well, tell me about you from behind the chair, because they don't want to, it's an escape for them. So let's just talk about you. And then if you're in vent mode, girl, you can't do that with everybody.
Right.
And those clients are special. That bond becomes really special. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that is the balance it can be tricky.
Okay.
It's definitely necessary.
Do you find it challenging?
I didn't, because I didn't think about it. I just came as me, and then there was repercussions for just showing up as me. And so when I saw the repercussions, to be transparent, retention or something like that, it's like, well, what could have been the issue? And that part of that, I feel the overshare was an issue at times, because there was just seasons in my life where I was just, you know, you're growing. I started this industry at 23. So all of my life changes have been happening behind this chair. And what I came with a set of stuff. I added some more stuff, and all this while you're growing and serving. So yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's a welcome challenge. And it's just like all things, I enjoy mastering those things. That's what my perspective now is, enjoying the journey of mastering the weakness, mastering the difficulties and the challenge, because it's not really a problem, it's just the opportunity for solutions. So,
that's good.
Yeah.
Opportunity for solution.
Yeah.
That's good. So as it pertains to the topic, nappy roots, when I think about nappy roots and the history of the word nappy, I think about the emotional challenges that can be tied to that, right? Shame, right? Nappy being associated from history as something being dirty, right?
undesirable, for sure.
Undesirable. And just the result of it making, you know, you feel less than, right? And so I also think about the conversation that unfortunately we still hear from some of the older generation. Good hair versus bad hair.
Yeah, that's all.
Good hair versus nappy hair. So Good grade.
The grading scale alone, that word.
Yeah.
The grade. Yes.
So that triggered something. So tell me.
So nappy has not really been a word in my family culture. Like, I didn't grow up really here. I heard the word, obviously, and if I heard it, it was coming from my own people. and it wasn't started by us, but we, you know, we perpetuate a lot of stuff, and we feed our kids those things. And so, but the grade and the texture, because in my home, hair differences weren't really, it just wasn't talked about. The texture of hair, my mother really couldn't do it, but it was never a shame associated with what type you have or don't have. Now, I would hear other people's assessment of what we had or didn't have. I have a myriad of textures in my family, but what came across to us was that word good. And it made me uncomfortable because I didn't feel better than anybody. I don't want to be, it's just mine is why it is what it is. It's good because I like it, because it's mine. It's growing up, I would put my hands in my hair when my mother was shampooing, and I got to feel it. And it was just like a sense of this belongs to me. Just the ownership of my total person. And when you're little, shame is not really present in your reality, you know, unless something has placed itself on you. But you just come here really confident in who you are. There's a sense of knowing and discovering who you are. So whatever it is that you discover, it's like, oh, this is mine. And you love it. You don't question it. You don't wonder if it's less or more. It just is yours. And so that sense of ownership was definitely embedded. So yes, I enjoyed my hair because as you should, it's yours. But the good part, the grading part, the fact that this whole culture that we live in, the social media, because this wasn't a term that we learned in school.
Right.
4C, 3B, the numbers and the letters.
Yeah.
Now when we talk about meat, A1 steak. So A being the top, 1 being the top. Well, what's the top in the hair gradings is straight, bone straight, and the more wavier you get, the more numbers get added. So by the time you get to our culture, we're down to the 4s, the 3s and the 4s and the C's and the Z's.
Yeah.
The Z, there's a Z out here.
I didn't know.
There's a Z.
I didn't know.
So even that, because a lot of people who call themselves 4C, there's even so many variants of all of that, and so many differences in the coarseness or the diameter of the hair, people, or you know, the thickness of the strand, the thinness of the strand, the density of it. All of that plays a part into your hair. None of it is bad. And why do we keep perpetuating that? It's a subconscious, I got a bad grade and I love it. You know what I mean? Like, if the letters were correlated to like school, you get an A, B, C, or D. If we're 4, that's a D. That's below average.
Wow.
That's below average.
Wow.
I got 4C here, but now we're proud of it though. Because I've heard happy and nappy. I've heard, you know, and I think there's a way that we have learned to adapt and take ownership of certain words that have been meant to penetrate and hurt our soul. And it's like, no, I'm going to take that and I'm going to embrace it and flip it and still survive and be resilient.
Yeah.
That part of us, I love that part of us. But sometimes it's like, why not just create a whole other word?
Yeah.
Don't even use their word.
Don't even use
their language to identify with yourself at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like the grading system. I think that your cuticle is either closed or it's open.
Right.
It's either, you know, you need a trim or you don't. You need some hydration or you need some protein. Maybe you need to change your diet. It's either healthy or it's unhealthy, because systemically you are healthy or unhealthy.
Right.
So let's talk about the health of your hair versus the grade of your hair.
Right.
What condition is it in?
Right.
Can it do for you what you want it to do for you?
Right.
Does your hair give you the flexibility to wear it however you want to wear it?
Right.
Or do you have to cover it up?
Right.
Do you have to add to it?
Right.
And even having to, that word have to is a whole nother word, because sometimes if you have alopecia, do you have to cover it up? You could just wear your skin. But again, hair is layered in how you see yourself.
Yeah.
It's layered in how you see yourself. And I've never had an issue with texture, but having hair, just the amount, just having some hair on my head, I've always been a person with hair. And so when I did cut it, I was very insecure about it. It wasn't about the texture, it was about the fact that it was gone. And it exposed me. I felt uncomfortable being seen out here without hair. And I was younger, I was like 23. And so I put in some twists. And the twists were kinky, but it was hair. It fell back on my shoulders. So I didn't care the texture, just give me the amount. I want the volume, I want the length. That part became a security and identity, like a correlation with my identity was having hair versus not. So not necessarily texture for me, but in doing children even with multiple textures, when I say it has hurt my heart to hear children not love what's theirs. Who took that from you?
Who did?
Who told you that what you have is not good enough?
Right.
Because somebody said who you are is not good enough.
Right.
Now, if I don't add this ponytail to your head, coming to the hairdresser means, oh, I'm going to get added hair. So if this baby has an impression that she's going to get added whatever to enhance her.
Right.
When you are enough.
Right.
And it's like that message is so detrimental because now you're sending a child out here who's growing up into a woman.
Right.
And what is she going to tell herself? What is she going to tell herself when the world says you're not enough? She's going to say, you're right, I'm not. And then she's going to do stuff that agrees with that. Versus if she says I'm enough internally because you've told her she's enough when the world says you're not, she has a whole nother sense of strength and durability about her spirit that she can quickly deflect the lie. She can identify it and deflect it.
That's right.
And we do ourselves an injustice to not cultivate with our words first the esteem of our children, male or female. Right.
I can remember years ago, at least 15, 16, 17 years ago, doing a girl. She was probably about 8 years old at the time. I had given her a texturizer. And although I'm not for it, at the same time, I'm like, I understand that I don't have to comb your hair every day. Right. So when I got done flat ironing her hair and I turned around to the mirror and she said, oh, I'm so glad my hair is straight. And I said, why? And she said, because my hair isn't nappy anymore. And I turned around and I looked her dead in her eye and I said, is your hair a little kinkier than your classmates? Absolutely. Is your classmates' hair straighter than yours? Absolutely. I said, but one thing your hair is not. It's not nappy. And I don't ever want to hear you use that word again. And from that day on, for me, it was like, why? Like you said, why are we continuously using this language, knowing the history of it, number one, and then we're teaching the next generation, and this has been generations on top of generations, that straight, long hair equals confidence.
Correct.
And that's from way back.
Correct.
You know what I mean? When you get into, other conversations, that was the only way to fit in. Be confident as if my hair is strong. Straight. So from that point on, and me kind of diving more into that conversation and just understanding not only where it came from, but what that word actually means. And you've heard me say it a dozen times. When you actually look it up, nappy is a type of fabric. Depending on how old you are, your grandmama probably had a nappy rug in her house. And it's the rugs where it had the grooves in it, where the fibers folded over. that was considered a nappy rug.
Like a hook rug.
Like a hook rug. And so, you know, people make a joke and say, yep, that's exactly how my hair is. But my take on it is the Bible says your hair is your crown and your glory. It's your something that you wear proudly with honor.
Yes.
A crown is an honorable headpiece, right? But a rug doesn't just make your house look pretty. It's something that you walk on. It's something that as soon as you come in the door, you take your shoes and wipe the dirt off of your shoes onto that rug. Why would we want to associate ourselves with something that is known to be under our feet?
And that's true. That part is definitely true, because I've also thought about it from the perspective of also comparisons, because whoever came up with that, that's all you had to compare it to. So even in that, was the intention necessarily negative with that comparison? I think the negativity came in when they wanted you to hide it, cover it, cut it off. They shamed you for having it. Because if it is woolly like sheep's hair, that's not negative. If it is nappy, sheep stink. But I mean, you know, it's not necessarily negative. The connotation, it's the spirit behind what was done about the hair, because it was disgraced, because it was put down, it was a symbol. People with this type of hair are less than. People with this type of hair, we've put them in the category of we can trample on them. We can put them, we can subdue them. And to me, to be called nappy headed and nappy hair, you were subdued.
The lowest.
So fight against the term, not for rebel against what's yours. Embrace what's yours, but flip it. Like, you can't subdue me. You can't. I can't. I'm not gonna quote her song because I don't know if we can. But you cannot break my spirit. You can't break my spirit. But yes, fight against that, where people try to place you, the box they try to put you in, because you were born with that crown. That crown came with a title, which came with a position, which came with a station that was given to you from the Most High. So you are a little image of Him. So that's why you have a crown, because He's the King of Kings. So that makes me the little king. So yeah, I'm gonna wear my crown. However textured it comes out, I'm gonna adorn it. I'm gonna appreciate it. I'm gonna love on it. I'm gonna take care of it. I'm gonna learn how to maintain it. I'm gonna feed it what it needs. Because I appreciate and I love it. Like, yes. So polish your crown.
Meet us back here next week for part 2 with Kalena Marie.